Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I'd really appreciate it, and I update daily. If you like this watch, you can purchase it on thewatchbox.com, buy, trade, and sell luxury watches on thewatchbox.com. And today we are discussing the pre-2016 dial iteration of the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Dual Time, the 26120OR in red gold. If you've seen the post-2016 iteration of the Dual Times dial, you know, holy polarizing graphics, Batman. Now, while this is more of a Bruce Wayne than Batman watch, I can certainly commiserate with those who didn't like the updated dial. This works better and has a more universal charm and beauty to it, as well as a less busy overall aesthetic. 39 is the size, and 39 is traditional for the Royal Oak. If you're going to wear the watch on a smaller wrist, you want to go with the old 36 or the 39, as the 41 is simply an offshore by another name. This timepiece, 39 millimeters in diameter, nice and slim at 10.3 millimeters thick, it will easily slide underneath a dress cuff, begins to stretch its wings from lug to lug. This is where it really makes its wrist real estate impact felt, as it's 49.5 millimeters from lug to lug, but if you include those double plot intermediate links from side to side, those are rigid and they will flare out. You can't bend them down, and they extend the watch to 54.4 millimeters from side to side. Though it's a flat 39, think of it as more of a 41 or a 42 round watch, because that is how it wears. For that reason, I would say wear it down to a wrist size as small as 14.5 centimeters, but no smaller. Now, everything that touches the wrist is of the highest grade. You can see 5N red gold case, no pink or rose gold here, that is red, super intense, with a black semi-gloss alligator leather strap to match, sheer sides, monotone stitch, large rectangular scale. You can see that semi-gloss. It isn't quite matte, it isn't high gloss, it's a good match for the case. The watch comes with a full red gold deployant clasp, so you have that extra measure of security while donning or removing at bedside. Much harder to drop a watch on a full deployant, and it adds a nice counterweight to the watch head when the watch is worn loose. Now, AP Royal Oaks and Royal Oaks are on the right side of history in terms of how they join straps to cases. All luxury watches should be joined by screws, not spindly spring bars. We're moving in the right direction here, but it should be universal, not just on the Royal Oaks and the offshores. You can see that the case design is classical Royal Oak with a combination of satin finished surfaces, polished and rounded surfaces, flaring and diminishing bevels. As ever, satin finished top to the octagonal bezel with rounded and polished flanks, countersunk white gold hexagonal bezel bolts. We can get close now and give ourselves a bit more aperture since the watch is off the wrist. I want you to see the details, because the details are what makes a Royal Oak. It's the hand finishing, the use of the eye and hand pressure and experience against milling machines that produces this finish, and that's a big part of what you pay for when you buy a Royal Oak in any material. The exterior of this case, this bezel, even the clasp, not industrial products, but finished by hand. And the same could be said in many respects of the dial. Although the industrial process could be loosely described as such, what it really is a 19th century pantograph machine transcribing a large model of this dial onto a smaller brass blank, and the result is the dial. So a large model has this hobnail with the cuts for the sub-registers, as well as a light pebbly texture that runs between the larger hobnails and over their surfaces. So there is a second order texturing to this dial that you can appreciate with a loupe. The detail is fantastic, and again, it's only industrial in the sense that the pantograph was considered state-of-the-art industrial equipment circa roughly 1825, still done the old-fashioned way. Now, the combination of the black dial, the black leather, and the red gold case is absolutely explosive, and the use of red gold details on the dial nicely matches that color coordination, as you have applied red gold indices and AP logo at 12, as well as red gold hands. They are loomed, so there will be a loom shot at the end of this video. You can see sub-registers for the 38-hour power reserve. There's a power reserve indicator. There's a radial date, and all adjustments of the date, as well as the second time zone, are done through the crown. Unlike JLC dual time watches that feature this movement, there is no pusher adjuster, so the watch has a screw down crown, a securely fixed case back, and it is a robust 50 meters water resistant. If you put this on a water resistant band with a screw down crown, I would say this is a swimmable watch, and AP says the same. Now, All of that said, what do the complications do and how do they work? Well, there's that radial date, that's self-explanatory. The date is connected to the hands at center, so you can spin the reference time as many times as you want. It's not going to jump the date. The date only communicates with the hands at center and that mechanism. Now there is a second time zone as well as a day-night indicator. So right now the second time zone and the local time zone, local time is always at center. Your reference time or your home time, the place where you are not, is in the dial at 6 o'clock. Now by pulling the crown out to an intermediate position, I can move that reference time backwards or forwards in 1 hour steps. And you can see how the day-night indicator, it keeps you apprised of whether you're looking at daytime or nighttime, so 8 p.m. or 8 a.m. Of course, you push the crown back down, screw it back in, and you restore the structural integrity of the crown assembly, the stem tube, as well as the water resistance of the watch. Now, underneath that caseback, which is itself quite shapely and handsome, there is a JLC 8899 base. It's an 899, not the older 889. The changes to the 899 include more efficient unidirectional winding, ceramic rotor bearings, a free-sprung balance, and a hairspring that is laser welded at the stud and the collet for still more security against displacement under shock. Now it beats away at 28,800 vibrations per hour or 4 hertz. Despite the fact that there is no constant seconds hand on the watch, it does retain its underlying hacking seconds function. So if you want to pull the crown out and just leave the watch, it will stay fixed on whatever time was indicated when you pulled the crown. And if you want to change the date, you sweep the hour hand through midnight back and forth, and it will step the date in 1 day increments. Technically, this movement is known as Audemars Piguet 2329 with a 2846 module, 33 joules. It has all of the refinements that I mentioned, and it is fundamentally a Jaeger-LeCoultre base, which makes sense as up until 2000, Audemars Piguet owned 40% of Jaeger-LeCoultre, and the companies were tightly intertwined on a technical level. That said, while the old association has ended, this watch has a timeless beauty to it, and once again, if you've seen the 2016 dial, it may not be for you. Rest assured, this is. See and decide for yourself on the watch box. And we're back with the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Dual Time, the 26120OR. As you can see, robustly luminescent. This does have the heart of a sports watch, as that is where every Royal Oak and offshore started. See it and start your journey with this dual time on our website.